There will not be another 400-yard game for Tua this week.
I mean, that's setting the bar very low.
Yeah, I know. I'm scared.
People will not pass for 400 yards. Oh, wow, okay. Wow, they're really going to shut him down,
when
not
he gets,
400.
Yeah, when he gets 360, I go, so sorry.
Yeah, I told you they'd clamp him. All right, what's going on, everybody? Back at you with another episode of the Harvester Sports Podcast already, episode 73.
What's up, everybody? Do you get scared when you look over and see me like waving and just I don't know what to do while you talk? So
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do while I talk. The words are coming out of my mouth, and I don't know what it's gonna be. No good way to ever hit an introduction. I don't think.
No. Right before the camera starts, there's a lot of panic, but
you just gotta start launching them right into
exactly.
It. Just straight up picks up. Here's why the Commanders are winning the Super Bowl. Like, oh.
And they go, but first, I'm Austin.
Yeah, more to come. Yeah. Oh, you do hit that? I'm Noah.
I'm Austin. Don't forget. Let's just talk about some games, man. Let's talk about some Week 2 matchups coming up. What do you want to start with?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about some of the upcoming games, Week 2. Maybe make a couple predictions, couple things to look out for, stuff like that. Let's
start with Jets-Cowboys. Jets-Cowboys, I think a lot of people are going to see the Cowboys having blown out the Giants, which is my team. That was an awful game. 40-0, big loss for the Giants. But I think also people are going to see the Jets and them losing Aaron Rodgers and write this off as a loss right away for the Jets. I don't think it's quite like that. I think the Jets have a real chance to win this game with a great defense. They have an amazing run game. If you think about it, with Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, they can get into positions to not force Zach Wilson to have to make so many plays and have to make so many big throws. They can kind of take that load off his shoulders and help him so he doesn't have to play up to Aaron Rodgers' standards. And I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think.
Sorry, I tried to slip off my shoes while you were talking, but I got halfway there.
No, it's fine. Yeah, but I think the Jets have a real chance to win this game. And I think people shouldn't sleep on them right now just because Aaron Rodgers is gone. Just like Coach Salas said, people are writing them off and like putting their season in the grave already. Do not do that. The Jets have a real chance to still win some games and to make a push for the playoffs. It'll be very exciting, I think, this game for me.
The spread for this game is 9 points in favor of the Cowboys. It's supposed to be one of the biggest blowouts of the week. But I think... I don't know. I kind of thought that was going to be like my hot take coming into this. I was like, well, the Jets might win, but also apparently you have the same
yeah, we have the same mind, yeah.
But for one, I always think that the Cowboys are a facade. They won by 40. Mm-hmm. Dak had like 150 yards. I know a lot of early power rankings for the NFL have the Cowboys really high up. Personally, I feel like I need to see more from Dak, more from the offense in order to be able to say that, because there really wasn't that much production for as much as there was production because they scored 40 points, but like when it comes to their offense, their passing game in particular, I wasn't exactly like super impressed.
I think real quick, I think the Giants lost that game more than the Cowboys won it. I think the Giants made a lot of errors that basically handed the Cowboys that massive victory, and it was going to be impossible for the Cowboys not to win that game with everything that was going on.
Yeah, I would agree, but talking about the Jets, I think that a couple things about the Jets. One, I think that watching that Monday night game, the offensive line of the Jets, which had been a concern for a lot of people throughout the offseason, that could be a weak point. The Jets' offensive line looked really bad on Monday, and that's obviously Zach Wilson is not the quarterback that Aaron Rodgers is. Not saying that he's as good as him or even close. That being said, one skill he does have that he is better at than Aaron Rodgers is he's more mobile and he can move around more when the pocket collapses, which we saw happen a lot against the Bills, is that the offensive line was not holding up. And thankfully, Zach Wilson is a lot more mobile than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So they do have that going for him, because even if Aaron Rodgers were to have stayed healthy, if the Jets offensive line played the whole season playing like they were that on Monday night, it would have been really rough, I think.
It would have been really rough. And just to wrap it up, if you're a stat guy or a history buff, the Cowboys have not beaten the Jets in 16 years. Or the last Cowboys win against the Jets was November 22nd, 2007. Fun fact for you.
There you go. But yeah, talking about their offensive line, I think that I think that the Jets have a realistic chance to still beat the Cowboys. That being said, the Cowboys had 7 sacks against the Giants, and they're going against the Jets, who have a really rough offensive line. So I think that if the Jets give up less than 5, I think 4 or 5 sacks is where you draw the line. They're not going to win if they have more than that.
I agree.
But I think that if the Jets can protect Zach Wilson, he actually looked a lot more confident than he did last year. It looked like he improved a lot since last year.
Yeah.
And I definitely wouldn't count the Jets out.
Jets need to protect Zach Wilson and keep that run game alive, and I think they'll be able to stay with it, and they have a chance of beating the Cowboys.
That offensive line just looks rough.
Yeah.
Zach's going to be running around for his life. But he might make a couple plays.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Throw a couple picks, too, but...
Throw a couple picks, throw a couple touchdowns. We'll see what happens. So the next matchup I got is the Jags-Chiefs, and I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game, and I know it's only week 2, but I think this game actually has some hold on the future for both these teams. If the Jags beat the Chiefs, they'll have 2 games over them in the AFC and a tiebreaker for down the road, which could mean, I know this is only week 2, and again, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it could mean with the tiebreaker over them, it could mean that Patrick Mahomes plays his first away game in the playoffs as a Chief, which, I mean, could be something, the first playoff game, but again, it's only week 2. And I think this is going to be another great high-scoring matchup. It's going to be a rerun of the playoffs last year where the Jags lost to the Chiefs. I think this will be a very good game and a very fun game to watch. And Travis Kelce's probably back. Chris Jones is probably back. The teams are going to be healthy. No more, what was it last year or last game? No more marks next to the game because they weren't healthy.
Asterisks, I think would be the term.
Yeah, probably asterisks. But, I think it'll be a very good high-scoring game.
So who do you think is going to win?
I'm sorry. It's hard because it's Patrick Mahomes. If he gets Travis Kelce back, which is probably going to be a day-to-day decision, I think the Chiefs win this game. But again, I think the Jags have a high-powered offense and not the defense to be able to hold these high-powered offenses down, but more like a high-powered offense to play along with these other high-powered offenses. That's why I think the Chiefs are still going to win this game.
Yeah, I was going to say, I am taking the Chiefs, and I'm no disrespect to the Jags. I think they're good, but I think Pat Mahomes is not the type of guy to start a season 0-2, and I don't think he lets that happen, even against Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, who look good.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So I also want to talk about matchup between 2 rookie quarterbacks. We've got Anthony Richardson and the Colts versus C.J. Stroud and the Texans. I'm thinking that Anthony Richardson comes out on top. I think the Colts win it. I think that the Texans need to find a way to protect C.J. Stroud. They couldn't do it last week.
Couldn't do it forever.
I don't really think they're going to be able to do it against the Colts.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be tough for Bryce Stroud to... Wow, I combined C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young.
No, you made the perfect quarterback.
Is that the perfect quarterback? I'm mixed with 2 rookies. But... yeah, I'm taking the Colts in this one. I think Anthony Richardson gets his first win.
Yeah. The Colts, Anthony Richardson he went into the better system and the better, almost an arena, the better environment for him. He went into a healthier O-line, a better defense. C.J. Stroud, a lot has to happen for them to win this game. They have to protect him, which they didn't last week with 5 sacks, and he passed it 44 times. So they really don't care on the Texans what's happening. They said, you're getting hit, you still are going to have to throw the ball more. Most teams would see you're getting hit, dropping back, and be like, let's relax and let's move to some other things. They said, no, keep doing what you're doing, throw it 44 times. It's going to be hard for the Texans to win until they can protect their quarterback, which they haven't done since forever. So I'm going with you. I'm going the Colts win this game. And Anthony Richardson gets his first win.
Well, let's move on to talk about the Monday night game, Saints versus the Panthers in Carolina.
A divisional game.
I'm just going to say, when it comes to the Monday night game, Saints versus Panthers, I think that the Saints... I like Bryce Young.
Yeah.
I hope he has a really good career. I think the Saints defense is going to make him look silly on Monday night. I think they're going to make him look goofy.
Yeah.
That defense against Ryan Tannehill, who is a veteran quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is a veteran quarterback who has had some success in the league, and they made him look like he was not comfortable, whether that was getting sacked, making bad throws, picking him off, all sorts of stuff. I think that based on how uncomfortable they were able to make Ryan Tannehill look, I think that that Bryce Young coming in his second game, I think he's just going to look goofy.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, obviously, I'm going to pick the Saints, but there's real reasons why I think the Saints are going to win. First, like you said, that's a young quarterback going against one of the best defenses I've had the pleasure of watching. They made Ryan Tannehill, like you said, a veteran quarterback, look like he was in Vietnam back there, forcing him to make bad plays, bad throws, leading to 3 interceptions. Could have been like 6 or 7. I feel really bad for Bryce Young and the young quarterback that he is, and also for the Saints on their side of the ball, on the offense side of the ball. It's their second week together. They started really clicking after into the second half. On offense, and now they got another week to go together. They're playing, they're having fun. Michael Thomas is doing great. Chris Olave's doing great. Jamal Williams is playing great. Still don't have Kamara. It's going to be fun when he's there. I think the Saints are going to steamroll. I don't want to say steamroll, but I think they're going to steamroll the poor Panthers and get their first divisional win and end up going 2-0, which is very exciting, I think, for the Saints. And the next game I got is Dolphins versus Patriots. I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch for one reason. It's this insanely fast and exciting offense with Mike McDaniels and the Dolphins, with Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle going against Bill Belichick, who has been one of the best defensive-minded coaches we've ever seen. And if anybody can come up with a plan or try to stop these guys, it's going to be Bill Belichick. And I'm gonna be honest, like we were talking about earlier, and some people have said, like this last weekend, the Patriots were very close to beating the Eagles, and the Eagles are a insanely good team. And the Patriots looked the best at any team that lost last week or this week. I think they come out here, and I think they have a real chance to beat the Dolphins. I don't know if it'll happen, but I think they have a real chance with Bill Belichick. He's the only person, or one of the only people or coaches in the league I can trust to stopping this high-speed railroad or railway that is the Dolphins offense.
So who are you picking to win?
It's okay. If I have to pick one,
is it if I don't ask you who you're picking to win, will you leave everyone with like it'll be close?
It'll be close. I'm gonna say I'll put my money on it. I'll do it. I'll say Bill Belichick comes up with a plan, and him and Mac Jones stop the Dolphins in their tracks this week. There will not be, here comes the clip, there will not be another 400-yard game for Tua this week.
I mean, that's setting the bar very low.
Yeah, I know, I'm scared.
People will not pass for 400 yards. Oh, wow, okay. Wow, they're really going to shut him down,
when
not 400.
Yeah, when he gets 360, I go, so sorry.
Yeah, I told you they'd clamp him. I disagree. I think that the Dolphins win it. I am not about to bet against the man that had 466 yards, 3 touchdowns this week. I mean, the Patriots, for a game they lost, they did have a really good, or I wouldn't say that, a really good game. But Mac Jones played well last week. Mm-hmm. He had 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards. Played well against a really tough defense. The Eagles last year had, I think, the best passing defense in the league. Mm-hmm. And Mac Jones was able to do really well against them. So I think they'll do well against the Dolphins from an offensive perspective. But I also think that the Dolphins offense is just so high powered and stuff that I don't think the Patriots are going to be able to slow them down. I think the Dolphins come out on top in a high scoring game. I also don't know. Were the Patriots the best looking losing team? Because the Chiefs, Pat Mahomes looked like Pat Mahomes. I was going to put that out there. But
people do forget.
Yeah, so I'm still taking the Dolphins. I think Tua continues to play well.
Yeah, I totally agree.
No, you don't. You just said that
I just want to hype you up.
Patriots were going to...
I just want you to know I support you.
Okay, so another game I want to talk about, Commanders versus the Broncos. I think the Broncos start the season 0-2. I think the Commanders start the season 2-0.
Wow.
The Commanders, they won in Sam Howell's second career game. The Commanders got it done against the Cardinals, and then this week they're gonna have. It looks like they're gonna have Chase Young on that defense. They are going to have Terry McLaurin is gonna be more recovered from the toe injury that he was coming back from during this first week. But Sam Howell looked good week 1. He looked comfortable. He looked confident. And also the Commanders' defense had 6 sacks in week 1, and now they're adding Chase Young. Yeah, I think they're going to cook, and they're going to make Russell Wilson very uncomfortable, force him to make some bad decisions, bad plays. I think Russ is going to have a tough game against that Commanders defense, and I think that Sam Howell is going to get the job done because he's Sam the Commander. And also the Broncos, they really struggled against the Raiders. They struggled with pass rush. They didn't do a great job of putting pressure on Jimmy G, and I think that if you give Sam Howell time, then he's obviously going to do even better. I think your best chance against a young quarterback like Sam is to just bring the pressure, and the Broncos haven't really indicated they've been able to do that. Although I do think Jerry Jeudy is supposed to be back, which should help their offense if Russ can get the ball to him, but maybe not. Yeah. Maybe he can't.
Yeah. And I don't have too much to say about that game, but I do want to kind of double down on something you said. When the Broncos played the Raiders last week, Jimmy G was kept in a relatively clean pocket the entire game. And something you want to do against a rookie quarterback would be to get him out of his comfort zone, make him make these weird plays. But if the Broncos can't get that pass rush on a young Sam Howell can feel comfortable, stand up tall, and just make these good plays that got him drafted in the first place. So I'll join you on this one. I'll say Sam Howell leads the Commanders to a victory over the Horsey Boys.
He's going to take command.
Oh, that's a good one.
See some Sam Howell money drive. Or maybe we don't even need a money drive because they'll just be winning the whole time.
Yeah, just be winning the whole game.
Eric Bieniemy's going to cook some up. They just need to protect Sam Howell is the way. That's kind of what they struggled with week 1. Mm-hmm. One of the things they struggled with is they didn't do a great job of protecting Sam. I think they'll be able to against the Broncos based on what their pass rush looked like week 1.
Yeah.
One other game that I want to talk about, and not even this game, but just...
What makes you sick thinking about this
Code
game?
0. Is that, for one, I think the Packers make the playoffs this year. I don't know if they win the division, but I think the Packers are looking at like a 10-win season. Once Aaron was gone, people were saying obviously once Aaron leaves, then he has been the guy in Green Bay for a long time now. So it's reasonable to wonder how they're going to do without him. But based on what we've seen from Jordan Love, what we saw in week 1, Jordan Love looked really good. Statistically was one of the best quarterbacks in the league week 1. And he looked confident. He looked comfortable. He looked like he had really good pocket presence. And it looks like the Packers... It looks like Jordan Love is going to be the Packers guy for the next however long. So I think that the Packers are going to continue to play well. I think they also have a pretty favorable schedule. So I think them winning 10 games coming in as a wild card is super reasonable. I would even maybe say more than that. But I think this week they play the Falcons. I think they're going to roll the Falcons. I think they beat the Falcons by 150 points. You know? I think
Please,
they.
Kyle Pitts, my fantasy team.
I think they don't have too much trouble with the Falcons. I don't see them putting up that much of a fight, and then the Packers start off the season 2-0.
I think you're totally right. Jordan Love, I'll say, looked like a guy who sat behind Aaron Rodgers and got to learn behind one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen for a few years. Jordan Love, he looked like he had strength back there. He looked like he wasn't afraid. He made great plays. He moved around with his legs. I think that Jordan Love helps out his other Valley quarterback, Derek, and beats the Falcons, giving them another edge in the NFC South.
Jordan Love, he looked really good, and he looked especially good in important situations, on third downs, in the red zone, on fourth downs even. He had the poise, the confidence to throw really good balls when it needed to happen. And that's a sign of somebody that's what it takes to be successful in the league. And I think that's why Jordan Love is going to have a good career in the league. There will always be the debate, though, of he's good, so that means that they should, if he would have come into a system where he could play right away. But then there's also the other side of the debate where it's maybe he wouldn't have been as good if he wasn't behind Aaron Rodgers. Because he does show a little bit of some Aaron Rodgers tendencies.
He does, yeah. If you watch the videos on ESPN or NFL Network when they show the side-by-side of some of their throwing mechanics, it's very... You can see how much Aaron Rodgers impacted Jordan in his young career. And I'm very excited to watch Jordan going forward.
Yeah, I think Packers fans should be really optimistic about the future.
I think so, too.
I think that Packers fans should be optimistic about the future. Lions fans should be optimistic about the future. The other two in that division, who knows, man? Justin Fields looks good, but whatever happened Sunday looked like the worst thing I've ever seen in football in the Bears.
Which is not
The Bears.
Yeah. Just throw it in. That's when you panic. You just go, nah, Bears.
The Bears. Who looked like the worst team in football on Sunday? The Bears.
Nah, Bears. I got something to say about the Bills versus Raiders game. I think there's two mentalities you can go with going into this game. And it takes either from the Raiders' perspective or from the Bills' perspective. Both are coming in, or the Bills are coming in to say that game was a fluke. Like, we just had a bad week. That was awful. We're going to go next week. We're going to show that we're the Bills that we should be. And Josh Allen is the quarterback that we all know he really is. The Raiders, on the other hand, are coming in and saying, our game wasn't a fluke. We're actually a good team. We can win games when it's hard, when we got all these penalties, when things aren't going our way. We can come and we can win a gritty football game. And if the Raiders come out and they beat the Bills, which I think the Bills are going to win personally because I think Josh Allen's going to come back for his little revenge game. But if the Raiders can come out here and they can beat the Bills and go 2-0, the Raiders are going to be a team you have to watch out for because they have a really good offense. Their defense is still not the best. They have some really good playmakers on defense, but they still need to get better. They need to get the flags down, but you still have these dumb flags, especially in the red zone, and whatever. We don't have to really talk about it. But again, I think on one side you have the Bills trying to be like, that game was week one was a fluke. You have the Raiders going, that's not a fluke. We're a good team, and we're going to come here and we're going to beat the Bills, who you guys have been talking about all offseason long. It's hard. I personally, again, I think the Bills are going to win the game. I think Josh Allen's going to come with that mindset of that was just a fluke. But again, if the Raiders win that game, they're coming out with the mindset of, no, like, this is us. We're a good football team.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills to win it. I think that Josh Allen, there's a lot of people throwing some doubt at how great of a quarterback he is now that he's didn't finish the season well last year. Wasn't as great last year as he was the year before, and is obviously not off to a great start at all this year. But I think that he is talented, and I think he has a mentality to bounce back from a tough game. I think the Raiders' defense is historically, their secondary has been the type of defense that you might want to go against if you need a get right game. Like, if you're a quarterback that didn't have a great game last week, it's the type of secondary where you could put up some numbies where you feel better about yourself again, and I think that could happen. I think that the Raiders, they need to find a way to get Tyree Wilson doing something and getting, I don't know, but I think it's Josh Allen could have another game like he did last week.
It's very possible. It's very possible.
But if Josh Allen does struggle again, then there are going to be a lot more questions about, okay, is he that guy? Is Josh, because realistically, like, yeah, you're right that if the Raiders win, then it's like a big win, start off 2-0. But that the conversation around the NFL will not be, wow, Raiders are 2-0. It'll be, wow, Josh Allen's 0-2. Is he washed? Was he ever that good? Was it Brian Daboll? Has he ever been good? And all sorts of questions like that. The conversation will not be like,
no, wow, Raiders, which again, if you're a Raiders fan, if you're a Raiders fan or if you're a Raiders player, again, sucks because you're like, we're 2-0, but the conversation won't be about your team. It'll be about the quarterback that just lost to you, which is sucky. But again, it's just how the way football works, and it's a business, and they're going to be talking about one guy's downfall rather than your success.
Yeah, I'm not really buying into I know there's been mounting theories for a while that Josh Allen's not the quarterback that he was hyped up to be. I don't buy into those theories. I think he is good. Obviously, he has had struggles and he's imperfect, but I think that he's going to bounce back at some point here, whether that's week 2 against the Raiders, which I think it probably will be. But at some point, I think he's going to reestablish himself as a really good quarterback.
Yeah, I agree.